What's up, guys? Welcome back to Carolina Collectors Connection podcast. This is a podcast we come together on no real schedule with a few of our buddies from the YouTube community, as well as Mr. Wally, who really works in the comic industry. So tonight we got Zack Jack Dan.
What's up?
We got Zach Legend.
Oh.
And we got our man Wally. All right, hope you guys are doing well. Hope everybody out there is doing well and staying safe. So we got some cool topics for us tonight. So we're going to go ahead and start just with kind of how we start our podcast off. We talk about what we've picked up this week or what we're reading. So let's go ahead and we'll start with Wally. What you got for us this week, Wally?
Yeah, what's happening, good people? So I picked up, I guess, the current run of Batman, like 92 on through whatever. I don't even know what's going on. I just grabbed him because I like Jorge's work and Joker's doing crazy stuff. So I haven't even got through all of it. Just looking at the art. Picked up Empire #6 and is it Helions? Yeah, I picked up the first 3 of those just because, again, I'm more about the art than the story. No disrespect to stories, but I just pick up a lot of stuff because of the art. So grab those and X-Men #11. Because it looked like Magneto was doing some dangerous, cool stuff in there. So those are the books I've picked up. No figures or anything like that. I don't think. Maybe. I'm getting young, so I might have picked up something and forgot.
So you're comic book heavy this week.
Yeah. Well, because I've been letting stuff pile up, and then it's like, oh, let me go grab that now. Yeah.
Yep. I do that myself every now and then. Pile up 2 or 3 weeks worth, and then head to the comic book shop.
Right.
All right, Daniel, what you got this week, man?
So I've been trying to do, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on in the podcast, but I've been trying to do a Black Panther So, of course, I always do every Marvel Legends, but I'm going to actually try and do an every toy, statue, whatnot, Black Panther. So that has been crazy research trying to get all that done, and hopefully that will get out before too long here.
Cool, man. So yeah, I want to take this time, guys. If you're watching and you are in the world of collecting, you guys need to check out Zack Jack Dan. He does a ton of research for us on basically every line out there and what that line encompasses. So if you're looking at Marvel Legends and you want to know about the Build-A-Figures they've put out, he's got a video on it. If you want to know about Super 7, he's got a video on it. So it's if you collect, it's really an encyclopedia of what's out there. So go check that channel out. It is very valuable information for us as collectors. Zach, what you got?
As far as reading, I've caught up on some of the most recent Sonic comics from IDW. So I've read some of those. And then I checked out that Mega Man issue from Boom Studio. I know you showed that pretty recently on one of your so I didn't even realize that there was a new Mega Man line out there. But yeah, I checked that out. I didn't enjoy it that much. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't like Archie for me. But yeah, that's sort of some of the stuff I've been reading. As far as the most recent stuff that I've actually got, some of the most recent figures I've reviewed. I know you've reviewed these too, but we got the Rogue and Pyro, so I got those. And then also the Rider series Punisher that I found at a Target. So
that's an awesome figure right there.
Yeah, it really is.
Is that your favorite Riders figure so far?
I think favorite. I don't know. Cosmic Ghost Rider is pretty cool.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a really good. As far as Punisher goes, probably the best Punisher that I've seen for Marvel Legends. So I was very impressed by it. I definitely was not expecting as much out of it as I actually got during the review. So it was nice.
Awesome. All right, and then for me, so I'm reading a book. It's called Teenage Ninja to Mutant Turtle, and this is a book.
You threw me off at first. I was like, why is Phil reading a book about being a teenager? Cool, manly man. What's going on?
If it's got to do with teenage, it's got to do with Ninja Turtles. If it's me,
right.
But this is actually Ken Scott, who was he started off in the original Ninja Turtles movie from the 90s. He started off as a foot soldier, and when the kind of the stuntman for Raphael went down with a broken nose, if you remember when Casey Jones hits Raphael, knocks him up into the trash can. The actual actor broke his nose, so Ken Scott ended up getting into the role of Raphael and ended up playing him from that point on. So this is a book, kind of a behind-the-scenes book that he wrote, talking about his time as Raphael, and it's really enjoyable. I'm probably 75% of the way through it, and I really enjoy it so far. So that's kind of what I'm reading. As far as what I've picked up this week, I covered some of this in my toy hunt video from yesterday, but I picked up a multiple man figure to kind of continue building my X Factor team, and then I picked up the Rhino Build-A-Figure. So those were two big figures that I wanted that they were kind of pricey and kind of stinks to have to pick them up on the secondary market. But you got to do what you got to do as a collector. Probably the Rhino will get a deluxe release for $30 sometime over the next 6 months. So if you're, that's kind of how it works with me when I go out on a limb and purchase something for, a ridiculous amount of money for a figure. But that's kind of it for me as far as what I picked up and what you guys picked up. Let's move on into our toy topics. So we'll put up some slides here. Let's see here. All right. So, Zach, why don't you take us on into what we're looking at here?
All right, so we're going to start off with some of the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse line. So the Cyborg figure, which for whatever reason, whenever the wave that with like Flash and the Asbat and the other Joker, whenever that went up, for whatever reason, the Cyborg didn't go up with that. And I was a little concerned about that because this is definitely a figure I'm very interested in. It's Teen Titans was just one of my favorite animated shows growing up. I just loved watching that. But it is now actually up for pre-order. You can get that. I don't really know the reason for the delay, but it is now up, and it should be probably shipping out by the end of this month from what I'm hearing. But excited about that. I can't wait for that to get that in hand.
So is this the first Teen Titan figure that DC Multiverse has done?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, specifically Teen Titan. Okay.
Right.
All right, cool. And then moving on here.
Yeah, so today during a panel for the DC fandom, so Todd McFarlane did a panel, showed off some of the DC Multiverse figures, and when he did that, at the end he had a little tease showing us this Drowned figure, which is the last figure we need for the Dark Knights Metal line. So I'm excited about that, excited that they're finishing that line up. Don't really know exactly anything about when this is actually going to be released, but you can see the prototype right there, and it looks pretty cool, in my opinion, overall.
Oh, yeah, I like that as well. So this won't be part of this won't be part of the wave where we're getting like the Robins.
No.
This is going to be a whole nother wave, right?
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it, if it's going to be a part of the next wave or who knows, but yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that the one with the Robins, you got the fact that you got to get 3 different Robins in order to even get those 3 head sculpts. So they're not putting all 3 head sculpts in each package. So that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
it's genius on McFarlane, because people are going to be buying 7, 8, 9 Robins, and the secondary market we'll be flooded with them. People trying to get rid of their extras. Once they acquire all the heads.
Yeah.
So good marketing on his side. And what we got here, Zach? This is new. I haven't even seen this until you showed it to me today. So what is this?
Yeah, it got leaked somehow. I'm not exactly sure who it got leaked by, but it looks like it's going to be some type of variant 2-pack of the Arkham, Batman, and Joker that are hitting stores a lot right now as individual releases. But yeah, it looks like we're going to get some type of repaint. Looks like some type of green on it, like sort of dirtied up. Not exactly sure what's going on there, but I did notice whenever I went back and rewatched Todd McFarlane's panel that those 2 figures were actually sitting in the background, and I just didn't even pay attention to them. But he actually had them sitting there, didn't mention them at all. But
with the paint, with the
paint on them like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could see the green hands, and I guess he's got some dirt on him too. Maybe there. I'm not sure what Batman's got on him.
Batman definitely has some dirt on that thigh and maybe on his left bicep there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, he has some green on his left arm too. It looks like
he does.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool 2-pack there. I love these figures. Every time I see them out on a toy hunt, I just keep fighting back the urge to purchase them because I'm trying not to just dive into that DC Multiverse line. But I've always thought, the Arkham Asylum, Daniel, you remember I had a pretty big collection of these when I guess DC Direct was doing them. Or DC Collectibles. What were they called at that time? I can't remember what they were called.
They started off as Direct and then went to Collectibles. Yep.
And then went to Collectibles. So I always felt like they were some of the best Batman figures I had ever owned, maybe ever made. And, McFarlane's kind of following suit. These look fantastic.
So kind of touching on that, though, here's what kind of bothers me because, Zack and Ross, who's not on here, he's Custom Comics. They just both got these Joker figures, the regular Arkham Jokers. And, I mean, already, before we even hardly get any kind of waves out there of any other characters, we're already getting repaints of the same figures we've gotten. So this Joker's going to be the exact same thing, just with green. So,
well, this one, the other one that's coming out, that's more of like the comic-based one, I think that one reuses the same body as well. And one interesting thing, whenever I was watching the panel today, was how Todd was talking about how they always want to try to make the figures like different and have like unique sculpts to all of them, and make it seem like you're not getting the same figure over and over. But then like we're getting this, and to me that sort of just seems like he's going against what he's saying. But either way, I'm still happy with this. It's still a cool variant stuff we're getting. But yeah, I sort of throw that out there.
Well, and one thing I will say too, I'm seeing these on pegs a lot.
Yeah.
So like you said, to already be pushing this back out, and you guys know I'm toy hunting every weekend. It's out there to watch, so it's happening. But we're seeing them a lot. I'm not making that up. You can go watch the toy hunt videos, and you'll see these two figures individually packaged at every store we go to. So they're not selling them out. So it is kind of interesting that so soon we're already doing a re-release. But, Todd knows what he's doing. I mean, the guy's been making money forever. He knows how to make money. He really listens to the fans, I think. Wally, you're a big fan of Todd's as well. You've seen how he's done over the years. We're seeing it with the Spawn, with the Spawn Kickstarter. He works for the fans,
Yeah, but I wonder with this, how much of that is his decision and how much of that is DC's decision. You know what I mean?
True. Yep. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. He's not in total control here.
Right.
DC has a big hand, if not a bigger hand than Todd, as far as this is concerned. All right, so moving on here, Zach, what we got here?
So we got the Venom Wave, which I can't remember when that got revealed. I think that was at probably the Fan First Tuesday or something like that. But yeah, pretty cool stuff going on here. We got our first Sony-based Venom. That looks amazing. New sculpt on that. And then we got some of the other figures in the wave. So some of the Venomized figures with Miles and Gwen there, looking pretty cool overall. We saw those earlier, I believe, at Toy Fair, but those still look nice. We got Carnage. I think that's the Absolute Carnage. That's
so how much different is this than the Carnage we got in the last Venom Wave?
It's actually a lot different. At first,
okay.
I was thinking, we're just getting another Carnage. It's going to be the same thing. But there's actually a lot. I think the whole body is a new sculpt.
Oh,
because,
okay.
Yeah, all the line work on it, like the black lines, that's all actually like sculpted in. It's not just painted.
Ooh,
so,
that's nice.
I know. Okay. It looks really – so I think even though it's probably a little soon to get a new Carnage, it's still a really nice figure.
Yeah. Well, like you said, it's so different in this head, really kind of makes it a whole different deal,
Yeah. And I think they probably wanted to push Carnage a little bit too, since he's going to be in the next Venom movie.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And then we have a Morbius, which I believe is based off of the Midnight Suns story. And it's definitely different. I don't mind it. I was actually looking for another Morbius because I made a Midnight Sun shelf. So I was wanting another Morbius, and this is exactly what I would need for that. It's probably not something I really thought I needed. I don't really know how many people actually care for this, but it still looks cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And then Phage. That's
much needed. We needed him.
Definitely much needed. But basic body, not too much going on there.
What's a little bit? Is this an arm? What is the accessory there?
It's like
just an attachment. Yeah.
Yeah. goes over top the arm. I guess it's like a blade type of thing.
I got you. So it doesn't like go. It's not a wrist peg attachment. It's going to actually just go over the arm.
Yeah, I think. Well, it'll probably clip on. Yeah.
Yeah, clip on it. Okay.
And then the big reveal, I wasn't expecting at all. This is really awesome. You got the Venom Build-A-Figure. I was expecting it to probably be Riot as the Build-A-Figure, but I'm even happier with getting this. That's really awesome.
Very. It's kind of funny with this. I actually had the Hot Toys version pre-ordered, and I was like, he's like $400. Well, I was like $250 into him. You know, you just pay, and Sideshow sets it up where you just pay $50 a month or whatever until he's released, and then you've paid for him. And I actually went in and lost my $20 deposit on him, so I could get all that money back, so I could get this one for basically free. You know, just order the Wave and get this one. So I'm super excited about this one.
Yeah, definitely exciting. But the cool thing is you only need 5 figures to build them too.
Yes.
That's ridiculous right there. So
that's phenomenal. So basically you're getting the Wave plus the Build-A-Figure for barely over $100.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, that's kind of unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
We don't see that very much. All right, so moving on. Got some big news here, or I guess maybe kind of big news.
Yeah, we were supposed to get this announced at SDCC this year, but since it was pushed off to being online, I guess, not in person, they decided not to announce this, but it somehow leaked out today. Not sure how, but somehow Silk, who we have already gotten very similar, we'll see a picture here in a second, very similar, beat out Sith at 35% and Elektra at 8%. Now, my vote back then was the Elektra in the white. That was just me. Zach, what did you think back then?
I wanted to have Elektra too, but I thought Silk was probably going to be the winner from what I was hearing.
And this Silk is completely different than the other Silk that we got. So that would have actually made a lot more sense. So scroll a little bit, Phil.
I may not have that picture. I think this is the only other picture we got here in our slideshow.
Okay. Well, that was the winner. So he'll throw up another picture here in post to show the comparison. But there's a comparison picture showing the Silk, and basically all that you have different is you have those few little stripes on her legs there in this particular version, and then the gray in the chest area versus the white that the original had. I'm sorry, this has got white, and the original had a gray color in the chest area, and then you have that extra web app on her hand that you can have. That's it. Everything else is the same. Head sculpts are the same. You got the same scarf. I don't know. I don't understand why, in my opinion, this one would have done it unless it's because that Silk was in such a rare wave, because I'm pretty sure the Space Venom Wave is a fairly hard wave to get your hands on nowadays. Yeah. That may have been why people voted for it, because like you feel, you jump into collecting later, you might not have had a chance to get it.
That's right. Yeah, and she didn't just win it. I mean, she kind of ran away with it. You know, 57% of the vote. Elektra not even really on the board hardly. So yeah, so they're searching for something. So yeah, there's our.
It may too have to do. She has a. I've learned that Silk has a huge core following.
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize how many people actually like the character. So I wonder if that has an impact on it too. And like you said, Daniel, people who didn't get it the first time now realizing that they can get a figure, so they're really pushing for it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wish they'd re-release that Miles Morales.
Yeah. Well, I know that's true too. And see, for me, that bugs me because they're going to throw these things out here, and this one doesn't bother me as bad as long as it's not in a wave or something, so I don't have to buy it. But whenever you throw it in a wave with a Build-A-Figure, it's like, well, gosh, I got to buy it again. What am I going to do? Am I going to go sell my old one? What am I going to do with this stuff?
Right.
So will she be coming in a wave, or will she just be individually packaged out there on her own?
I don't know that they said. Did they say, Zach?
I think it's probably going to be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, from what I can tell.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
because this was an official reveal by Hasbro. They they posted something today about it. And it should actually go for pre-order, I think, later this month, probably right around the Hasbro PulseCon. So
gotcha.
I expect to see it go up. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I definitely agree with you guys about how is probably because just a lot of people didn't get their hands on it originally, and it's probably it's the most popular character out of the bunch. So yeah.
All right, so stay tuned to that. Maybe we'll see that hitting shelves either later this year or first of next year.
It'll be interesting if they actually put that little fan vote thing on the bottom there too.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so kind of next up, guys, we want to talk about some figures that actually just dropped. These just hit at your Big Bad Toy Stores, and mine's on the way. I should have it here soon. I think Daniel and Zach will be in the same boat. So be looking out for our channels for reviews on the Thundercats Wave 1 from Super 7. So really excited to be getting those in. At the same time, the TMNT Super 7 Wave 1 also dropped. So that's on its way. So I'll be checking out my channel for the review on that. Daniel, you guys have not secured this set yet, correct?
We did not get that. I wanted to, but I chickened out at the last minute.
I hear you. So,
Phil, that's the route that I text you about. We was talking about
that's
the head
one.
sculpts. Okay.
Yeah, this is that Super 7, which looks phenomenal from the reviews that I've seen so far. So I'm really excited to get my hands on them. So the next things in line for TMNT from Super 7 will be Wave 2, which we got Leonardo, Shredder, Bebop, and Mutagen Man. So we got those pre-ordered. Those will be coming in. And then Wave 2 for the Thundercats, which is Humira, Tigra, the Big Moonra. What is he? What is this? What do they call him in the show?
The Ever Living, right?
Does he become the Ever Living when he gets on steroids, or is there no particular name for him?
When he's transforming, he says the Ever Living. So I guess yeah.
Maybe that's the Ever Living. And then, golly, I can't remember this guy's. What is it, Daniel?
That's Groon.
Groon, yeah, that's right. So I actually didn't pre-order him. I pre-ordered the other three. But so those will be dropping next. I'm assuming later this year. I think it says fourth quarter. They don't give a specific time, but Wave 1 on both of these sets were 3 or 4 months behind? Weren't they like originally like a June, July release?
Right.
And we're just getting them. So I'm figuring these will probably, carry over maybe into even January, February.
Oh, I think they'll hit right away.
So we get the guy with the stocking cap before we get Wily Kit and Wily Cat. That's crazy.
Yep.
They haven't even announced a Wily Kit and Wily Cat yet officially, have they?
So no official, but I got very frustrated back a while back with Brian with Super 7 because he was doing a video kind of showing off. Who was it, Zack? Humira, right?
Yeah.
He was showing off Humira on the table, and certain flashes that he was doing to the screen showed Wily Cat. Like he was going to be a pack-in figure with her. But then when he actually showed her off, he didn't. And when they actually revealed that that's who we're getting in the package, no Wily Cat.
She's individually packaged.
Yep. Okay. So we're spending regular money on her with hardly any kind of accessories, thinking we were going to get Wily Cat too, but nope.
Well, we'll see what happens. We're definitely paying for these figures. I hope when I get them in hand this week, and we'll discuss this further as we all get our hands on them, but I hope we get $45 worth of action figure. And from the reviews that I've seen, I like them. I think they look great in the reviews. But when you get it in hand, you want to hold it and be like, man, this is a $45 figure. And I felt that way recently. I got into SH Figure Arts, and they're a little more pricey as far as per figure. And when I got it, I felt good about what I spent on it.
Right, the craftsmanship.
And I've had time. Yes, the craftsmanship, the engineering, the paint, the sculpt, everything felt like I got my money's worth. So I'm hoping that I get kind of that same kind of feeling here with the Super 7 lines.
Is Mumra? Did y'all tell me that Mumra was going to be bigger than everybody else? Did we talk about that?
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah,
okay. But he's also. Go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, he's he's going to be more expensive because he comes with Mum Mutt, and I don't know what did they end up charging for that? Do you remember?
I think he's 60.
I think it was 60. Is it 59 or 69?
Okay.
I can't remember, but he's definitely more than the other figures in the wave. Mm-hmm. All right, so moving on here, Daniel, we are looking at
We are looking at McFarlane's Bat Cycle from the Dark Knight's Metal. So this thing just got revealed, I think, yesterday maybe. I mean, this looks like amazing. This just completely outdoes that Bat Raptor he did, which, again, you're seeing on shelves like crazy right now. This thing looks amazing.
You think it's going to sell better than the Bat Raptor?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I agree.
This will not be sitting on shelves. And, you know, one time I had kind of had a leak that this was going to come with a figure. Somebody had bought something up in Canada at one of the game stores and kind of pre-ordered all these. And when he did, it showed that there was a vehicle and figure. So I don't know if this is just kind of teased and that we're going to get a figure with it as well. Don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, because literally this is the only picture we even have, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just the one picture.
Yep.
So,
and to me, I don't know, Zach, you were sitting there saying about how the Riders, Cosmic Ghost Rider was the best rider. What do you think about that compared to now what McFarlane's doing with that?
I think McFarlane blows everything else out of the water. I mean, just to start with, Marvel Legends, their sculpt and paint is nowhere near like McFarlane. McFarlane, new sculpt to almost all their figures, and the paint's phenomenal as well. So, yeah, I think McFarlane's definitely doing a lot better on, especially that bike. In my opinion, it looks really good, awesome.
Now, notice these are the 9 so far that they have released for the Marvel Legends riders, and they're all in that exact same size package, and whatever they could fit in that package is what you're going to get. So, for example, the last one we got is this Punisher that Zach was showing off earlier, and you know that's awesome. We got a Punisher. He's an amazing figure. It's the same bike, just repainted black, that we got with the Captain America, the Wolverine, and the Ghost Rider. But who wanted a bike for the Punisher? You know, do we got a picture of the van here next, Phil?
Let's see here. We do.
Yep. We could have got a van. I think they could have split that van up into 2 pieces and fit that somehow in the package. I don't know. That's just me. That's what we all know for the Punisher is a Punisher van. So I think Marvel Legends could have definitely kind of pushed the envelope a little further with that and provided what the fans wanted. And kind of spinning off of another subject here, you know, we got this 3 3/4 inch HISS tank here that we're getting re-released. What's the line called? Retro line, I think it's called.
I think it's like a retro line.
Yeah, for the G.I. Joes is starting to release right now. But, you know,
this thing sold out in a half a second.
As the fans, you know, we want to see these nostalgic vehicles like this in the 6-inch line, but instead we get a vehicle like what Baroness came with, the Coil. That's a brand new vehicle that nobody's ever heard of. You know, it's still very sought after because it's a Target exclusive, so nobody can get their hands on it hardly. But, you know, it's not the nostalgia look that we want. You know, when you jump over and look at the Motu Classics and the fact that they threw out these large-scale, you know, 7-inch vehicles, and now McFarlane's doing the same thing, you know, you got to kind of wonder, okay, well, if Motu Classics could do it, if McFarlane can do it, and, of course, McFarlane hasn't gone quite this big yet, can we get other creators like NECA and Super 7 to throw out some things like maybe the Thunder Tank for the Thundercats? Can you scroll? There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is definitely something that I think the fans would want to see. And then, like I said, either NECA or Super 7, you know, there's a cartoon version of that. Either NECA or Super 7 could try to throw out the 7-inch scale or 6-inch scale turtle van. And I think that would definitely be something that people would want to grab up.
Yeah.
I agree. I would be all over a turtle van. That's for dang sure.
Now, I don't know that we go as far as the blimp or the Terror Drone, but we could. I mean, look, Super 7 is putting out the Snake Mountain right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. So let's jump into our discussion topics for tonight. Daniel's going to start us off with the discussion of army building in our collection. So a lot of the companies right now are putting out, you know, figures that are really made for army building. So let me drop up some slides here, and Daniel, go ahead and take us off.
All right, so here we go. We've already had 2 that have come to the Hasbro Pulse, which are the AIM and the Hydra. And, of course, we'd already had them released in figure form to us in waves before. So they, you know, throwing these out here was easy for them. I guess that gave Hasbro the opportunity to tell if the fans are going to grab a hold of this and go with it. And I think probably they did, but so now they have revealed that we got the Hellfire. I like to call him the Hellfire Goon, but they're calling him the Hellfire Guard on the box here. $15. You go to Hasbro Pulse. You can buy as many of them as you want to. They're all exactly the same. You don't have all the plastic in the bubble like we have on our regular figures. So I kind of wanted to talk about, what could Hasbro Marvel Legends do, and then we'll kind of spin off into other things for army building if all these other brands can do the same thing on Hasbro Pulse. So go ahead.
What do you guys think of the box? I would be fine if every figure we ever got came in the box and we saved $4. What's your guys' thoughts?
Box looks cool to me. It looks better than the other packaging to me.
I like it.
Only thing is you can't see how well your figure is. A lot of times we'll get stuff that has bad quality. So
that's true. That's true. When I go toy hunting and I pick a figure out, what you don't see in the toy hunt a lot of the times is me and the wife, comparing the figures if there's more than one. We're comparing them and looking at every little detail and seeing if there's a paint flaw here or there. So you're right that the box does kind of eliminate that. So moving on.
So, jumping into it, we got a lot of Dora Milaje figures so far. We got the Build-A-Figure Okaye. We got the Nadia. Is that right? What was the other one's name, Zach? Nakia.
Yeah.
And then they did another one that had kind of 3 different head swaps that you could mix and match and make a lot of the Dora Milajes. So I definitely could see Pulse throwing out a Dora Milaje for people to be able to army build. But to me, they should definitely do the same thing they did with the Legends and throw in multiple heads in that particular box. Multiple Man, as you just mentioned earlier, I think that it could be definitely an army builder. I would love to see different versions of him to give us the different chest shirts that he has. He's got this particular shirt versus the older X-Factor shirt that we got on the figure we already have. And as you said, Phil, that thing's going for $50 now, so hopefully we can get it for $15 instead. But again, you need multiple heads in that box, I think.
Heck, if you get him for $50 right now, you've got a deal. That's they list him at normally $65, $70. So.
And then Shield, I think that definitely, like when we got the Hydra and the AIM, they gave us 2-packs. I think those were both Toys R Us originally, Zach.
I think Hydra was. I don't know about. I think AIM might have originally been, but then it switched over to a Pulse exclusive pretty fast.
I think you're right. So I think that they definitely need to, not only do the army building individuals like for the Shield, but you also should go ahead and jump back to those 2-packs with these army builders for us as well. And then you got the Kree. Of course, we definitely need to upgrade on this. Mindless ones. Now, this would be like a deluxe figure for our armies. And I don't know what kind of price they could throw that one out there to us for on the Hasbro Pulse. But, as big as this is, they'd have to do it as a Build-A-Figure, but we wouldn't want it as a Build-A-Figure because we want multiples of them. And then you jump over to the MCU and you got the Chitauri from Avengers 1. Definitely people are, pining to get that thing. The only time we ever got that was from Marvel Select. And then you got the Outriders from the Avengers Endgame. And then you got a lot of Doom bots that people are always begging for.
The Doom would be easy, especially if you just stuck them in the box with really, hardly any accessories. Just let people buy them up,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got the new vintage one that's coming out now that kind of, to me, looks similar to that if they just give it a different head sculpt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the Spider Slayers. I think these would kind of be last on my list, but it's definitely something people could get an army building going on for. But jumping
that right there, I bet you is going to end up a Build-A-Figure in a Spider-Man wave. The Spider Slayer.
Yeah. It's possible, but like I said, people are going to want to army build it. So
yeah, it's true.
Which they'll do later. Go ahead and do the one Build-A-Figure and then let everybody complain and throw it out to us for another $30 and we'll get it again.
That's right. Yeah, what'd they say? 18 months. They won't re-release it for 18 months a Build-A-Figure, and then it's up for deluxe packaging.
Luxury paint.
Yep.
And then scrolls. I think definitely people are going to want a lot more scrolls, which was, again, that was a Build-A-Figure, but it was a super scroll versus a scroll minion.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of jumping over, you got the G.I. Joes, who are also Hasbro, and, the Red Ninjas haven't technically released wide scale yet, but I think that's definitely an army builder that G.I. Joes could push out there. And then also the Cobra Trooper that is a Target exclusive right now that nobody can get their hands on except for a guy named Kentpool that's in our local area. He's buying them all up. I think he's got about 15 of them now. A little name drop. But I think that this one could definitely be another one that Hasbro, if they talk to each other, could decide to do army building for the G.I. Joes as well. And then also, just off the top of my head, whenever I'm thinking Power Rangers, and I'm not even a Power Rangers fan, but I can think of the Putty Troopers. Is that what they're called? Putty Soldiers?
Yeah, putty soldiers maybe, or just they may just be putty. I don't know if they actually have a name after that, but yeah, they would be fantastic. The only ones I think we've gotten so far is just in the 2-pack with the Green Ranger. And
you got that one, but then you got the 2-pack of them two themselves as well.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I just haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen that out and about. So maybe that's something that.
I think that might have been a Pulse exclusive.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
But, okay. When you think over to the other brands that Hasbro has with the Ghostbusters and the Transformers and the, what else they got? Star Wars. Star Wars definitely has a lot of army builders they could put out there.
Oh, yeah. The droids and, yeah, that's true.
But I can't think of anything right offhand with Ghostbusters, I feel like we're already army building Ghostbusters when we go into a store and we see so many on the pegs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the Hasbro Ghostbusters have struggled. I was toy hunting the other day and saw a guy buy 2 of them. He actually had 3 of them and put 1 back. He actually was walking off with 3 and randomly just stopped his cart and put 1 back and left with 2 of them. So that's the first time I've ever seen anybody looking at them, picking them up, buying them. So it'd be interesting to know if that line's going to go any further, being that they're just sitting around so much. I can't fathom they would take it much further. All right, so you guys put comments below if we missed something. If there's figures out there you'd like to see being army built. Put some comments below. Let us know your thoughts on what those would be. I always like to hear from you guys. So next up, we've got a very sad situation here with the loss of Chadwick Bossman. So we're going to turn it over to Wally. Wally, let us know your thoughts on this.
Man, anytime somebody passes under any circumstances is rough. But when you see somebody so young who had a huge impact and still could have a greater impact, it's gut wrenching, it's heart wrenching. For me, the Black Panther being brought to life was major on so many scales, not just as a comic fan, but, growing up, not having a lot of Black superheroes that you could see. And I mean, even with Panther being as popular as it became, it wasn't that popular in general until the movie, and Chadwick, to me, just embodied everything you could imagine as far as T'Challa, the way he carried himself, the way he walked, the way he talked. His presence on stage and on camera and off camera, not to mention the people, the legendary people he played prior in other movies and roles he played that didn't get a whole lot of limelight, but were very important roles, very powerful roles. So, when the rumors started that he was sick earlier on, I hoped that it wasn't true. You hope that, not just because of Black Panther, but just in general, you hope that somebody's fine and what seems to be happening isn't what's happening. He didn't speak on it. So I just kind of put it in the back of my mind, just hoping that he was well. So when I got a text early that from someone else that they had heard that he had passed. And I'm like, I didn't even want to look at the text. I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna. I knew what it had to be about, but I'm like, nah, it can't be that. And him being from the Carolinas had a even larger impact, because here's somebody who came from pretty much where we're from, who's made it to this whole other scale, whose impact is on this whole other level. And, now they're gone. Of course, his work, his work ethic, his morals, the things he spoke on, those things will live forever, especially in the age that we're in. But, for me, it was a big impact of just thinking about not even thinking about what he felt about having to leave this world and leave his mom, leave his wife, and other people that he cared about. That's a heavy burden. As a father and a husband, my main priority is to be a great role model, leader, and protector. And to know that you can't still be here to do that, I just can't imagine what it took for him to find peace through the whole battle that he was dealing with, and especially in those last moments, But definitely much respect to him, Chadwick Boseman. His impact is impeccable. I don't know that anybody will be able to outdo the legend. It's kind of like it just won't be done. You know what I mean? But he set a standard, and that standard will have to be maintained for anybody who does step in the position.
It's true. And even as an actor, just think about how many great black roles he played with James Brown, Jackie Robinson, the Black Panther. And he brought these to life in a way I don't know that anybody else could. I don't know of another actor that could have did what he did. It's truly a great loss to Hollywood. And for such a young guy, you think about what all he had probably left in the, coming down the pipe for us. Just gone too soon, man. Such a sad
crazy.
situation.
It's crazy to look at. Like you said, Wally, I mean, I'm 1 year younger than him.
Right.
And I'm like, wow. I mean, that's just life stolen, it's crazy.
Yeah, indeed, man. But, he had an impact. And I think, I think now people who maybe didn't get it at first are looking at it a little differently. But, his embodiment of that character, especially, if you knew the character, but even if you didn't, his embodiment of that character was so on point, but then beyond. You know what I mean? Like, he really represented what it would be to be a true king of people and try to be the best. Even the movie dealt with those things, like what is it to be a leader and a king, and this positive effort, but you still have to make these tough decisions. I think there was a conversation with him and his dad in the movie, about that whole balance. And then when you think about the fact that he was dealing with what he was dealing with, it makes you think even deeper about him understanding the impact. I think Ryan Coogler came out and said that throughout filming the movie, he would make certain comments about the impact this movie was going to have, and nobody took it as serious as he was taking it. Not to say they didn't think it would be an impactful movie, they just didn't see it how he was seeing it. And you think, you have to stop and think, like, in his mind, was it like, look, everything that I do, I've got to make sure that whatever happens, it has an impact on the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hope, and I hate to say this, but, they're still going to have to do another Black Panther. It's in the works. They're going to have to figure something out. I don't know that they should necessarily go ahead and recast him for Black Panther 2 already.
Right.
I don't know how that's going to work. If they should push the movie out and just give him some time, give people time to grieve.
Yeah, it's a hard one, man. I see a lot of people wanting to see Shuri take the role, and I don't have a problem with that. But Letitia Wright is a wonderful actor. I just don't see her physically being the Black Panther, the Shuri that we had in the comics.
Right.
That was more like Lupita, her character, Okoye, like those they embody the essence of that version of his sister. Letitia embodies the baby sister who's intelligent, who's witty, who's slick. I'm not sure about her being an action star. Not to say she couldn't, but I understand people's concern with wanting to figure out how to pass the mantle properly. But I'm also on the other side of it too. I don't feel like Chadwick, and I can't speak for him, but I don't think he would have wanted that character to just become dormant and completely not spoken of anymore, on film. To me, the best way to handle it would be to sit down with Ryan Coogler, who directed the first one and is doing the second one, and maybe have a conversation with his mom and his wife and just kind of see what their feelings are. And if they give their blessings, I don't see how anybody else can have a problem with if they did decide to recast T'Challa. But if they don't, if they decide to pass the mantle for the next movie, I'm also on that with you on that too. They could do that for the next movie and maybe think about recasting later. Like I stated earlier, when we were talking off camera, you know, we've had several Superman, we've had several Batman, we've had several Spider-Man. I don't have a problem with there still being a T'Challa. I don't think that the legacy of what the Black Panther is has to be put to rest, so to speak. You know, I really don't think he would want that. You know what I mean?
You know, I hope since he knew he had this, you know, he had this illness, that he spoke with people about, hey, here's what I want. Here's my wishes for this.
Right.
And maybe they just hadn't shared that with us yet. Hopefully, you know, like you look at the Star Wars franchise and the fact that Leia died, and yet they still used her in that last Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I mean, there was some talks about trying to do something with him, but I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. I do know Ryan Coogler said that he had no idea. He said that he was literally still writing scripts based on his experience with Chadwick from before. So he had no clue where things were until it was announced that he was dead. You know, so
wow.
I don't know about Feige. I don't know if you know any of the execs knew what was going on, but Coogler definitely came out and said he had no clue. And his exact statement was he realizes that the script and words that he wrote with Chadwick in mind would never be used.
Interesting.
So, but hopefully he did. You know, hopefully he talked to his wife or his mom or both, and maybe they can. That's why I do feel like in my heart. Disney doesn't have to do anything, but I hope out of respect, maybe they can have that conversation at some point with people closer to him and Ryan Coogler, and they can come to a decision together. And if that's what happens, I think the fans have to just respect it, whatever that choice is, especially if they go and get that blessing, or if Chadwick did leave his, you know, a wish, a desire for how it could move forward, you know?
You know, something Zach and I had talked about was, with this multiverse stuff coming forward here with the WandaVision and the Doctor Strange movie, what if somehow we end up with a different universe version of Black Panther and he's played by Michael B. Jordan or something like that?
Right. I've heard other people mentioning that too. And I mean, you know, Michael B. is a great character. I the only thing I wonder is if he would feel comfortable stepping into that position or not, you know? But I think since we do have the multiverse kind of happening, it wouldn't be a strange thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. It's a tough one, and I wouldn't want to have to be in the position of trying to make that choice or
trying to be the replacement.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was hard to replace Jack Nicholson as the Joker, and he was alive when Heath Ledger came in. You know. And took that position. So,
well, you know what's funny is whenever Heath Ledger died, there's your one right there that died. He was supposed to be in that third Batman movie,
right?
And Christopher Nolan was like, "No, we're writing that part out of this script. He's not going to be in there,
right?
Because we're not replacing him."
It's a tough thing, man.
I just feel like the Black Panther movie, it had such an effect on just the nation in general. Culture-wise, I don't think they'll do. The Joker didn't have that effect, even though Heath Ledger played what I think was probably the best Joker ever played. Right. Outside of Joaquin Phoenix, played a pretty doggone good Joker, but you know, it didn't change a nation in a sense. You know, this one almost had nation-changing results. You know, it did something on a national standpoint that a lot of movies just don't do. You know. Made history in some ways. And so I see what Daniel's saying, but I don't know that we can really compare it exactly to Joker, because Joker didn't really have that, you know, that changing effect. That was just Heath Ledger probably playing the best Joker ever.
Right.
But,
it's just the thought of if people felt some kind of way with the Joker situation, then you got to imagine this is going to be so much larger when that conversation starts to happen more. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But you know, and you're right. This movie had an impact nationally and internationally. I remember seeing people in Korea doing interviews about how it changed the perception of Black culture, of African culture, of, you know, all these different things that maybe isn't taught. Well, definitely isn't taught in school, and it made people stop, especially people of a certain age group, stop and say, oh, like I see a bigger picture now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, which we all know the impact that comics can have. We know the impact that film can have. Like these things speak music, like they speak in a whole different wavelength. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I mean, for a movie to come out, when you really think about what Black Panther did, even financially, with no other major characters beside the Panther, to break $1 billion the way it did, like that's pretty remarkable. You know what I mean? I really don't. I mean, I know Marvel knew that it was going to have an impact, but I don't think they expected it to do what it did. You know, by far. I think I text Phil early on and told him I could see it hitting $1 billion, just because I knew the bubbling that was happening within Black culture, period. Like, wow, we're getting this. Now we have to show up and support it and make sure it's understood that we support. As long as it's done right, we're going to rock with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Black Panther did something, you know, I watched that movie too many times when it released. I took everybody that wanted to go and couldn't or whatever, I paid. I took time, whatever it took to usher people into the theater. Like, yo, you have to see this movie for a million reasons, but I won't tell you the reasons. Just come see it and you'll pick up on it for yourself.
Sure.
Zach, when's the release date for part 2? When was it supposed to be?
I think 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, rip to Chadwick, big loss to the world. Big loss, obviously, to Marvel Cinematic Universe. He will be missed, and prayers go out to his family and friends, as you know. I'm sure they're still dealing with it. So, moving on to our next topic. So, Daniel, we've got the topic of what's left with DC Direct and DC Collectibles.
So basically, you know, they've AT&T has basically shut down DC Direct, DC Collectibles, and you know, we have a few figures that are still out there announced that should be shipping still, but we're done. All these years of collecting all our DC Direct figures and you know, what became DC Collectibles and back to DC Direct again last year or beginning of this year, I guess, they're gone. So, you know, it's not going to be as much of a discussion topic as Chadwick, of course, because, you know, that's a real person. But this is definitely sad too. This is something that Zach and I definitely had a lot of. Phil, you're kind of jumping in there and grabbing some of your DC Direct out there. And as you mentioned, you were talking about your Arkham stuff that was out there.
Yeah. They've made some great figures. Loss. It is. So now will the Mattel stuff keep going? I guess the Mattel, like the Collect and Connect. Oh, that's right. So their last Collect and Connect wave was it. That's the end of them. Then it's McFarlane, right?
Then McFarlane took over, yep.
So that's all we're going to get DC is McFarlane and Spin Master.
That's it. Yep.
So they're not talking about replacing it with anything. It's just this is over. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing else.
Nothing more.
Man, so McFarlane is going to run. I mean, he's running the market. If somebody wants DC, they're buying McFarlane at this point.
Did they give any information on why? Was it a sales thing? Was it just somebody at AT&T didn't feel like it was worth it?
I can't speak on that.
It's terrible.
It's basically probably they felt like they spent too much money on something, and they're like, well, you know, let's cut some corners here. Because with this drop, they dropped what's the streaming service called?
Oh, DC Universe.
Yeah, they dropped DC Universe too.
Yeah. Well, is that still going or not? I mean, I know
what?
Is that still going? The streaming service? I know it's still technically going, but I know they're removing a lot of content from it.
I
rolled all over to HBO
to
Max.
Right. I was going to say I unsubscribed to it because what I was watching is on HBO Max, which I have as well. So, yeah, I don't know if they still have some content on it or not, but I think you can get most of the content somewhere else now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's only a few things that haven't came over to Max, and it feels like it probably will in the very near future.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, if DC Direct or Collectibles, whatever we're going to call them at this point, they don't exist, so I guess it don't matter. But if McFarlane don't pump up the production, I think there's a missed opportunity there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, putting out one wave every 3, 4, 5 months, you know, maybe 3 waves a year or so, that's not going to really fill the void that's left by losing DC Direct. So
yeah, McFarlane, he's got to figure out his strategy a little bit better, because it's like with that Cyborg we talked about earlier. He's coming out by himself. You know, how does that help us whenever we're purchasing things to, you know, bulk things in together to get our free shipping? You know, we're going to be, you know, paying out the wazoo for things now if we didn't put them into a wave.
right. All right, so more to come on that. I guess we'll see. Maybe at some point DC comes through with something. Maybe they, you know, obviously they've been hush-hush on anything other than this doesn't exist anymore. We're not making any more figures or statues or whatever. So, you know, we'll see. Maybe they're just kind of behind the scenes. They're trying to reorganize and kind of come back strong with something. Who knows? I hope. That's my hope, because, you know, I think I like having diversity. You know, I like having options, you know, and if it's just McFarlane and that's our only option, not that McFarlane's not doing well. I love a lot of the stuff he's putting out, most of what he's putting out. But I always thought it was cool to have multiple options. You know, you don't have to just go with one specific company. It's almost like a monopoly in the DC world now. You know, if you want a 6 or 7 inch figure, you got one option. So more to come. We'll see. All right, guys. So moving into our next topic of discussion, we have recently, I believe it was the DC Fandom event. We got the new trailer for the new Batman movie. Wally, talk to us about the new Batman movie.
Oh, the Crow. I mean, the Batman. You know, I've been trying to give, what's the sparkly guy's name?
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yes, Mr. Pattinson. I've been trying to give him the room, man. Like, he just doesn't, he never fit Bruce Wayne to me at all, ever. And I keep seeing him sparkling, like in Twilight. So it made it hard, but the trailer made me feel a lot better seeing him in costume than I felt before. I'm vibing with it. I'm really interested in it. Really want to see what's going to happen, what he's going to do with the role. I still don't really like him as Bruce, and the black eye paint, though I'm sure it was there for a reason, just kept making me think about the Crow over and over and over again. The Riddler seems like
there you go.
Yeah, that moment. I was like, why did they splice the new Crow movie into Batman?
So I'm guessing the black eye paint is just to black out where the mask is not covering. Is that what that's for, you think?
That's the assumption.
Yeah, it's got to be.
I can't
First time we've
imagine
ever
why
seen that
else
with
it would
any.
be.
First time we've ever seen that with any Batmans, though. So how did the other ones get through with it?
Yeah,
It makes it more realistic, though. You know, it's
True.
different.
And that's the subject that you had, Zach, was, you know, the realisticness of the fact that Catwoman, Penguin, and Riddler, you're not seeing them actually in their costumes. They're kind of generic.
Right. Especially Catwoman for now. I'm wondering if she'll evolve her suit by the end of the movie or not. But then he's still so pale too. Like, I don't know. I know Gotham is supposed to be dark and dreary, but man.
Well, we've always saw Bruce Wayne as so healthy. He's, you know, he's jacked. He's healthy. He's a big guy. You know, this is the first time we've got really with a Spider-Man body, right?
No. You had the first one in '89.
Michael Keaton.
Keaton wasn't jacked.
Keaton still looked more healthy than Robert Pattinson to me.
Yeah, Pattinson definitely looks like he was a vampire's meal for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I will forget about it. Forget him as Bruce. Look at him as Batman. That's amazing.
Yeah, Batman, he definitely wins me over as Batman. I mean, even with him being slim, from what I'm understanding, this is kind of like a year 2 Batman. So super young, super early on. Gordon's not commissioner yet. The Batmobile looks cool. Yeah, Gordon's not commissioner yet. Batmobile looks cool. The Riddler seems very dark compared to how he's normally portrayed on film. So that was cool and interesting to see. You know, to kill somebody and then tape their face up too is crazy. But when you really think about the psyche of the Riddler and his reasoning for doing things, it makes sense. It's got a very dark feel to it. I was kind of confused by people who hated the brutality of Ben Affleck's Batman, but were celebrating when he beat the crap out of the one dude who questioned who he was. And
this was so much more brutal. I mean, I was the same way. I was like, Ben Affleck is brutal. And then I looked at this like, whoa, this is way more brutal.
Right. And just from that one fight, I did see people kind of complaining that he was breathing heavy after the fight. But I'm like, this is supposed to be he's still learning. You know, he's not supposed to be the master fighter that we get later. And they're trying to focus more on the detective side of who he is as well. So I think I like seeing our superhero characters developing, you know, because I think this is supposed to be a 3-movie situation, if I'm not mistaken, or originally it was supposed to be.
So wait a minute, you can't breathe heavy after a fight? Did anybody tell Rocky Balboa that?
Nah, they probably did.
He couldn't even hardly get his lines out.
I saw him going in like, you know, he fought one guy. Why is he breathing heavy? And I'm like, I think the point was to show you the intensity of how he's fighting. Like he's right. Emotionally connected to what he's doing. He's not that Batman yet. You know what I mean? So yeah. I was fine with it. And he was supposed to also intimidate the rest of the guys there. Like, oh, you see what he did to him? You know? So I was cool with it. I'm actually really anticipating. I might just close my eyes when the Bruce Wayne scenes happen and just imagine somebody else playing that part. But outside of that, I'm pretty excited about it.
So what would you prefer? Heavy breathing after a fight or Christian Bale Batman voice?
Never, ever, ever again, Christian Bale. Never.
Yeah, I'm cool with the heavy breathing. I'll take
I'm taking the heavy breathing. Yeah, I'm taking heavy breathing every time.
Picturing him standing over the guy looking at the other Jokers and then goes, "What?"
I can't believe nobody ever stopped him from making that voice.
Hey, Christopher Nolan wasn't there when he started doing it, apparently. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just joking. I'm trying to save Nolan. But yeah, man, I'm actually more excited about this movie than I was originally. And I think it's because I really wanted that Ben Affleck Deathstroke story that was going around, and then when that got canceled, I was kind of feeling away. Then they bring the sparkly guy, and I was like, but seeing where they are currently with it, you know, I really am excited about whatever they're going to do with this opportunity with Batman.
Cool. What's the release date, guys? Anybody got the release date on it?
It just said 2021.
Sometime in 2020. The COVID has got everything so jacked up. So just 2021. So we'll be, I'm sure we'll be following up on this movie on our podcast as we get more trailers out. And more information drops on it. We'll get at least 2 or 3 trailers, you would imagine, before it actually hits theater.
Yeah.
So
well, you know, it's going to get pushed out anyway because he came down with COVID. So
that's true. That is true.
Yeah. Yep. So what are y'all thoughts on the car? Y'all like the Batmobile? Yeah or nay?
I didn't catch that angle whenever I watched the trailer. I only saw the back angle, but that's definitely an interesting look to it, just like a car with a rocket on the back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and like Wally said, if this is a Bruce Wayne at 22 years old versus the Bruce Wayne we typically see in the movies with the Ben Afflecks and the Michael Keatons and Christian Bales, you know, we've never really saw the young. Have we seen a young Bruce Wayne, a 20-year-old, 25-year-old Bruce Wayne in a movie before?
They kind of hit on it with Christian Bale when he tried to jump the buildings and fall. It's just the time. They didn't really separate the time distance very much, but I think that's what Nolan was trying to do a little bit there. Like, this is early Batman, and then we speed him up to being. But no, we've never officially seen a whole movie about a younger Batman.
Younger Batman, yeah. It's almost like if you go watch the series Gotham. This is kind of like what follows Gotham. You know, right. I don't know that I don't think they're doing that. I don't know that Gotham is canon, but for the movie universe, I don't think it is. But you can almost see it that way. You know, if you went, because you got, you know, obviously got Gordon and, you know, a lot of the people before they are who we know them as today.
Another quick question. Do y'all think we're going to get another origin situation in the beginning of this movie? Parents getting killed and everything?
I think so.
I think you'd have to.
I feel like I don't know why I'm dreaming this or something, but I feel like I saw Maggie from The Walking Dead being his mother. Was that in something else?
I don't think so.
I feel like that somehow I've seen Maggie from The Walking Dead getting the pearls ripped off her neck, and that she's his mother. But I don't know if that's for this movie or for like the Flashpoint or something, maybe.
Oh yeah, I keep
don't
forgetting about Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Was that a Flashpoint episode? Like whenever I don't remember. I've seen it though, unless I'm dreaming.
I've seen Maggie getting the pearls ripped off. Was that in the Joker movie?
Is that what that was?
I feel like maybe Maggie was the Joker's mom.
Okay.
Was Joaquin Phoenix's mom.
I'm not sure.
Not Joaquin Phoenix, but a young Joaquin Phoenix, the little boy actor.
Right.
I have seen Maggie get pearls ripped off her necklace recently, and that's the most recent Batman movie I've watched. Not Batman movie, but Batman Joker related movie. Yeah,
I'm merging all these different universes together.
Right. Which is probably going to be another thing with when this drops and when that Flash movie drops. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of people who don't really follow the
confused
Batman. Yeah, they're going to be real confused.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty. We're not know-it-alls when it comes to this stuff, but between the four of us, we stay pretty connected to the comic book world, the MCU, and we're even a little confused at what's going on. So you can imagine people that aren't.
All right, so forget everything I just said. She was Martha Wayne in Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Oh, so is that when the pearls get ripped off her necklace?
Yep.
Man, we're all over the place.
I'm all over the place.
But hey, I said she was Joker's mom. Well, Joker ain't even the one that. I promise this is just water right here. I promise.
I believe you. Yeah, that's right. The beautiful opening cinematic from Snyder with the gun locking into the pearls. That's right.
Yep. Hey, I'm not going to say that.
Really
Snyder
nice
was beautiful, man. That was nice.
So, yeah, that was a cool scene. All right, guys, so moving on here so we can go ahead and kind of start wrapping this thing up. Me and Daniel, our channels, ran some polls this week. And if you're new to our channels, go out there and subscribe. I think we're going to start running some polls here and there on our channel so we can bring them into our discussions. And we ran some neat polls this week. So let's go to Daniel's first poll, actually. And that first poll was, which Hasbro brand needs more love? So looks like you got a pretty good sample size here, 300 votes. Marvel Legends. So what's your thought on that?
Majority of people basically are just tired of and we'll get into that in my other two polls, but they basically in the comments here were just talking about the fact that the molds are just getting reused too much. And that was their biggest issue with why they need more love, is because we need better sculpts with these guys. Whereas with the Black Series and the Plasma for the Ghostbusters and G.I. Joe Classified especially, whenever we reviewed those are amazing sculpts that they could touch base on. And then with Power Rangers, that got second place there. What do you think about that, Phil?
Hey, I'm loving it, man. I'm all for it. The Lightning collection for me is all about MMPR. I like the original stuff. I kind of trailed off. I kind of aged out, I guess you could say, after kind of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So I'm not nearly as versed on what came after that. But I know that there's a huge catalog of villains that they have not even began to dabble into, and there's even Finster, and there's different even main characters that they have not done yet. Bulk and Skull were in there about every episode, so they got a lot of work to do as far as just that original MMPR line. And personally, I think it is the favorite, because if you watch a lot of my toy hunts, we see Power Rangers on the pegs all the time. But how often do we see the MMPR Power Rangers on the pegs? Very rarely. And there's one in almost every wave. And you typically don't see those outside of this new Goldar. And that's only because they re-released him, less than a year after the original, and he has no wings. So that was kind of a bad choice on their part. But
totally. But I think that my poll could be skewed because of the fact that the majority of my channel is Marvel Legends stuff.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
But when you look over at your Power Rangers, do they use the same bucks for them?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much every Ranger, the putty, they're all the same. They're all the same buck. outside the women, but the two women have the same buck. So yeah, I mean but they look fantastic. I mean, if you go look at the characters from the show, they were all on the same buck. It's almost like they said, all right, we need everybody here to weigh 185 pounds, and you need to be right around 5'11" or 6 foot tall. I mean, they look the same. So it's cool that they use the same buck. That's not a problem, but they got to branch out and get us some villains, and I know that means you're not going to be able to maybe reuse the mold so much. You're going to have to come up with some fresh stuff and some original stuff. But I think that's what the fans are wanting. We don't want repaints of the stuff we've already got, because what we've got is nice. They've done a good job so far. So we don't need new Goldars and new Lord Zeds. We just need new characters. Which
they've already given you 2 of each already. That's just crazy.
Exactly.
And now they're giving you what?
Was the Ranger Slayer, was it a different body from the Pink Ranger, or was it the same?
I want to say it was the same. I want to say it's the same. I've got it over there, but I'd have to do a lot of work to get them both together. But I would say it's probably the same. I think the boots are a little different, so maybe from the knees down, it's a little bit different. But I would say they're probably on the same buck.
Okay.
So rolling off of this particular poll that I did, I rolled into another question about Marvel Legends. So my poll number 2, Marvel Legends appear to need more love from Hasbro. So what needs the most attention? And in this case, like I said, they're saying stop reusing that same sculpt. So that's the winner for that. But also part 2, or the number 2 with 23%, is need more paint detail. So Zach, whenever you looked at the Pyro and like the Leader, what do you think about those paint versus your new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that you've been reviewing from NECA?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel Legends definitely, or Hasbro in general, doesn't necessarily have the same attention to detail paint-wise and sculpt-wise as some of these other companies do. For me personally, paint doesn't bother me quite as much as sculpt does, but that's just my own opinion. I definitely do see, it's definitely pretty obvious to see whenever companies cheap out, especially Hasbro. So I definitely think they need more attention, but I don't really think they're probably going to, because that's just, it would cost a lot more probably for them to actually go into more detail about that.
And so then that leads into my third poll question, which is Marvel Legends sculpts need the most work. So which aspect of the sculpt should they start with? And so, one of the first molds which came out, I'm thinking 2007, 2009 maybe. I think it might have been 2009 was the Bucky Cap mold. Came in one of the first Return of Marvel Legends waves. And I'm actually going to be making a video here soon showing all the Bucky Caps that they've made with these things. But, this is overwhelmingly, what people want to have Hasbro stop doing. Stop reusing these same old molds. Like Zach said, for him, that's his number 1 too, and get something else out there. I know you reviewed the Maverick figure, which was, not one of the greatest figures in that wave, but when you reviewed it, you were like, oh gosh, this is new.
Yeah, I was very impressed. Even though it's not like a super popular character, but I love seeing new sculpt. Definitely love that.
And I don't know if you noticed on your shelf, Phil, whenever you started collecting again, but what bothers me the most, I don't mind the sculpts as much. I can't even tell the difference in the sculpts. I had to get Zack to help me out with my video. But the little sliding pieces that they're putting on there instead of actually molding pieces onto the figures, that's what drives me crazy right now.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So Daniel, Zack, if Hasbro did, do some new molds, better sculpts, better paint job, but it took the price up, do you guys feel like that would affect people supporting the line still, or do you think it wouldn't impact it in a negative way?
I feel like they're probably already putting the price up a lot more than it should be. I feel like they're already trying to test the water a little bit, and with some of these, like the anniversary lines, those tend to be like $5-10 more, and there's nothing really different about them.
Right.
So I honestly feel like we should already be getting the better sculpts for those prices. If they went ahead and probably increased it to 25 a figure instead of the 20, then maybe getting a brand new sculpt for each figure would be okay. But I mean, NECA Toys, I mean, they have new sculpts for all their figures, and they're 25 each. So I would be fine with that. But
well, I mean, for example, along with that, if they're going to do that, then let's go ahead and throw back in the larger Build-A-Figure pieces and actually get some Build-A-Figures that we like.
That's true.
So that was it for my polls. Phil, you had one poll yourself, I think.
Yeah, I had one poll that I ran on my channel. So this is something that I've always wondered, is how important is covering articulation during a figure review to you? So obviously me and Zack both, as we review our figures, we try to cover articulation in most of our reviews, if not all of them. Sometimes I will skip over articulation if it's a figure that's been out for a while and I'm just now getting my hands on it. I just don't feel like guys need to see, articulation on a figure that somebody's done. 30 reviews are out there. Everybody covers articulation, and it's another Marvel legend. To me, that just seems redundant and kind of a waste of time. And I find myself a lot of times fast forwarding through the articulation portion, because as a collector, we're pretty familiar with Marvel Legend articulation. Build-A-Figure pretty much has a similar Marvel Legend. A similar articulation. Your Kingpins, your Venoms, your Toxins. Single jointed elbows, double jointed knees. The articulation is the same. And then your regular 6-inch figures pretty much all have the same articulation. So I really wanted to know, as a content creator, am I wasting time, by covering articulation on all these? And I think what we found here is people find it extremely important for the most part.
See, I voted the 15% again, so I'm just like with my lecture vote. My vote doesn't count for anything.
Yeah, but hey, every vote counts.
You find the guys that are out there doing the big reviews, especially Shartimus. He's flying through the articulation part.
Mm-hmm.
Like he don't even care anymore. He's just flying right through it. Versus I'm watching you and Zack do it. And you're taking your time, you're showing it right, you're giving people what they need to see with it, instead of just being like, I got to get through this video and make another one.
Right. But, at the same time, too, with a guy like Shartimus, I can't say that I dislike how he does it, because from my standpoint, I would prefer somebody just to buzz through it, just get it out of the way. I know if I can look at a figure and tell if I'm going to get a full 360 on an arm, so – it's probably in a sense with a guy like Shartimus or these big YouTube channels, it's probably more along the lines of just the fact that everybody probably knows. So I'm going to cover it, so I can say I covered it, but I'm not going to waste 7 minutes going over articulation, which I probably do sometimes, I really just wanted to see, if this poll would have come back and it was the opposite, 49% said it ain't important at all, I probably would have rethought my strategy as far as some of my reviews. But I think what it tells me here is I need to keep doing what I'm doing, just keep covering that articulation, even if it's redundant, even if it's another Spider-Man figure that we just covered 6 months ago with the same exact articulation, we're going to cover it,
You also got to take into consideration, some people don't watch Shartimus and guys like that, right? So if you're their go-to guy now, then
that's true.
They're looking for it from you or from Zack, so they're just kind of like, this is where I go to get my full clear understanding of whether or not I want this figure. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then I've noticed too, the way that different people review the articulation and things like that may be a little, the general composition of the character may be the same, but how they show it or display it might be different. And some people compare those two things to decide whether they really feel like, oh yeah, that works for me or it don't, so I think that goes into effect too. And now as your channel is growing, you're going to have more people who are just like, look, this is where I'm coming to get my information, you know what I mean? So they're hoping to get that from you too.
It's a good point. That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about it that way, is that not everybody watches every reviewer. People kind of find their reviewer, and even I do this, and Shartimus is one of my guys. I watch a lot of Shartimus's reviews, and I appreciate what he does there for the YouTube community. And I can't stand that these guys are able to get these figures, a month or two before me. That frustrates me, because I'm just like, I get a figure and I'm like, man, I got this thing so early. And then I'm like, dang, Shartimus reviewed this thing like a month ago,
Right.
So it's, you hate that portion of it, but you know, a lot of these guys, you know, I have my go-to guys. So I guess in a sense, like you said, as me and Zack grow in our review channels, we'll have the guys that we're their go-to guys. You know, like you said, they may not watch a Shartimus or an Optibotimus or Anthony's Custom, some of these really big channels that are really good that I've been watching forever.
Right.
A newer YouTuber may not be onto their channel. You know, me and Zack may be their Shartimus or their Optibotimus. Not that we'll ever be that big, or I would love to be. I don't think I ever will be that big, but we could be their go-to guy. So you're right. We probably need to continue it, and I think this poll pretty much, you know, tells us that. So, all right, guys. So final words, Daniel, what you got for us?
Like I said, guys, get ready for the Black Panther video I've been working on. It's almost done. I got a few more slides to build. I got them ready. But I do have a real job as well, so I can't always do exactly what I want to do. But I have stopped reading comics for the moment because I'm trying to catch up on some things.
Cool. Zack, what you got, bud?
I just appreciate everyone watching this for tuning in, and I always enjoy talking to you guys.
All right, Wally?
Yo, again, rest in peace to Chadwick Bossman. Much respect for the legacy. Appreciate y'all guys hanging out, kicking it. I got some cool stuff happening with some comics and Kickstarters, but I'll talk about that later when it's closer or whatever, you know.
Cool deal, man. Yeah, definitely get that information out here. That's something we need to talk about on the podcast if you got things coming down the pipe in the world of comic books.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Phil, congratulations on your 1,000.
Yes. Thank you to all my subscribers. I think we're getting ready to pass 1,300 now, so we're moving pretty well, and I've got a really, really cool subscriber base, man. We have great conversations on all my videos, and it's really been a really positive comment section. You know, you always worry, and I'm sure as you get bigger, you're going to deal with it. But I've been very pleased, and I'm very appreciative of my subscribers and how supportive they've been of the channel. So
hey,
yeah, shout out.
You remember when Phil was like, "I'll never reach 1,000."
I'm gonna tell you, man, that first 100 subscribers is no joke. That you've got to be really committed and loving what you do to hang out, because it is slow going, you know, for that first 100.
Oh, I know. I was pushing you for a long time.
Yeah. But to anybody out there that wants to get into this world of YouTube creating, you know, stick with it. Be patient and stick with it, because it's a grind. It's truly a grind, and you know, it ends up taking more time than a lot of people can imagine. You know, these guys that do this for a living, again, the Shartimuses, the Optibotimus, the JCs, these guys that are really putting out so much content. I mean, you can see, I don't know that they don't have a side job. Maybe they do, but to be able to put out the type of content, the amount of content they put out is impressive. And if they do have a job outside of YouTube, I'm even more impressed that they're able to do what they do, because it takes a lot of time editing videos and sitting down and doing reviews, and it's pretty intense. But I love it. You know, something I love, or I wouldn't do it. And I'm sure you guys are in the same boat.
Quick question, Phil. How many miles have you put on the cars for toy hunts lately?
Oh man, so many that I can never make it back. You know, that's impossible. But you know, the thing about it was, I've always been putting miles on the cars doing toy hunts. I just never filmed them. You know, so
I told him to film for so long. You probably went on 2 months worth of toy hunts when you were doing this. Your start of your channel. I was like, dude, film.
Yep. It's just it's a learning process. Daniel was telling me it's just a learning process, and I didn't realize people enjoyed it so much, to be honest with you. I was new to toy hunting as far as being a video. I've never historically watched a ton of toy hunting. I've always really just kind of stuck to the reviews portion of it, and so it kind of took some pushing and kind of stepping out on a limb, because you look like an idiot, you know, walking around with your little cell phone out, and you know, like, you know, I was hunting today, and you know, I've got, like, you know, kids that are you know, 5 and 6 years old, like running in front of my video camera, and you know, I'm just like, you know, here's a grown man over in the kids toy section, you know, filming stuff, you know, so you got to get past all that, and it's a comfort level thing, you know. And I'm finally getting to the point now where I just don't care. I just go and film, and I don't care if people looking at me like I'm crazy. It don't matter. Trying to put out content, it's, you know, collectors like it, and if they like it, I'm gonna try to do it, you know.
That's where you got to be, Phil. In the words of T'Challa when he first met Hawkeye in Civil War, I don't care.
That's it. That's exactly it. So, but anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. If you have, please comment down below on anything we've discussed this evening. We love to hear your thoughts. We love to hear your comments. So put those down below. Hit the like button. That really helps this video get shared so other people can see it. So YouTube analytics thing. So even if you dislike it, hit the like button for us. We greatly appreciate it. And then sub to our channels. You've got Man Cave Collectibles Reviews, Zack Jack Dan, and Zack Legend as far as the YouTube channels. Sub to those channels. We would love to have you as part of our channels and our teams. Everybody out there, stay safe. Until next time.